So I think it's really cool, like to inquire. What I mean by inquire is more like in inward questioning, but in a feeling way.
Mm.
When I am sure that I'm right, how does it feel in the
Mhm.
body? Or if someone doesn't feel their body very easily, like what kind of voice is that, or what images come?
Thank you for that addition. I cannot tell you how much I struggle in
Mhm.
just I don't think when people say, "Where do you feel it in your body?" There's really very little comes to mind most often. I'm
Right.
just like, I'm not sure. I'm pretty much thinking these thoughts. And I know that there are sometimes I'm in touch with that concept. Like it comes very naturally to me to say where.
Right.
But often I am just not that's not the language I would use, or I don't connect to that idea. And then I feel a little bit, I start to get very curious about that. That's putting it maybe mildly sometimes. It's frustrating to not be able to
Mhm.
receive the teaching or, to impose a barrier there where there could be a lot of inquiry.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate the permission, I guess, for more options.
Yeah.
It makes it all feel maybe more connected. Like there is a body place for me also. I just maybe we'll get there a different way. But anyway, I've never heard that before. Those like would
Oh, yeah.
think about it differently than that and it be the same concept is
Yeah.
new for me. Yeah.
I think it's but somewhere between laziness and trying not to overburden with words,
Hmm.
that as we teachers in the teaching role would tend to just give that same old, like, how does it feel in your body
Hmm.
way, meaning how is that in your experience, like what's in your inner atmosphere when that belief that's charged with emotion comes on,
Hmm.
or when you notice yourself playing power games and you're like, oh, you're curious about that happening, and there can be the pause, like in those martial arts movies where suddenly everything slows down and the person's doing their really cool moves through everybody else is still, like, you get to pause and feel like, what's moving here?
Hmm. Hmm. What's
And
moving you? And that's I
yeah.
feel like such an accessible question to me.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah. Do
Yeah.
you consciously think about accessibility in your teaching? Like, do
Yes.
you spend a lot of time on that? Yeah.
I have to put it a little differently
Uh-huh.
because I have been teaching for so long now. I wouldn't say I spend a lot of time on that.
Yeah.
Maybe I could spend more time on that.
Mm.
Like, working with you is giving me a chance to have a different perspective on what have I bothered to make sure is out there that is accessible to anybody. And for
Mhm.
example, doing these YouTube beginning meditation videos,
Mm.
people that I've known for decades who could come to the live meditations on Monday or Wednesday, but it's the YouTube video that's accessible to that person.
Right.
But also the things that I mentioned to you that I like to have a sense of who is here. Like, it's a conversation, even if it's 50 people in a year-long program, but it's an ongoing conversation with those particular people. It allows the organic things that come up.
Mhm.
I mean, I guess there's enough trust, and it's not like a performance. It's not a pretension. It's like what's really coming up for
Right.
people, and what's really helpful for people, and what's fun for people. Those might be the sort of main three things. But then none of that it could be, I have permission to share it. But
Mhm.
anyway, so that's really cool for me to think about accessibility in different ways. But an example, when I'm, let's say, guiding a meditation,
Mhm.
um, I'm first of all quiet as much as I can be, and I'm letting the words come and
Mhm.
including sometimes it's more about the sound of the word, like that consonant or that
Mhm.
combination of consonants. And I just wait for that to become a word, like, feeling is different from sensing.
Mhm.
And it could mean in a intellectual way, we can come up with how someone might hear the word sensing and someone might hear the word feeling, but just in the sound of the word, I guess poetically, but it's more like, I don't know, it's the wholeness and the integrity, like the sounds matter, they carry something, I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah.
so I'm aware that if a particular sound or a particular word is coming in a particular timing,
Mm-hmm.
that is something about accessibility. Like it might, there's someone who's listening now, or maybe it even works, I don't know, beyond time.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? Maybe, because sometimes people listen to the recording later and they're like, oh, that was such good timing. So physics says time is really up in the air and a question. So I'm open to that possibility that whoever might listen to this, it might be not every, I don't expect every word to hit everybody, but maybe there'll be something for someone about the word from. I mean, it doesn't have to be even a
Right.
special word, you know. Um, but then I do have in mind simple things like someone is more visual, someone is more auditory, someone is more kinesthetic. And when that comes up as part of
Mm-hmm.
my process of receiving the words, I don't hesitate to include the other avenues. And I know
Mm-hmm.
people who don't feel their body very well. So
Yeah.
it depends on the context. Like if it's a group that we've been together for a while, then they might understand my shorthand and I can say, feel in your body or open your eyes and work with color or use sound.
Mm-hmm.
But other times I'll go into more detail if it's a more open situation and I don't know who's there and I don't know how they connect. The thing is just connect, what connects.
Mm-hmm.
That's more what is then accessible ourselves to ourselves. What is your way of connecting? What's possible? Yeah.
And
So I
there's
don't. I
definitely,
kind of was rambling a bit there, but I think maybe I responded to your question.
yes, deeply. Well, also the thing about time made me think of how I sent you a song maybe a year ago. I'm not sure. Sometime maybe in
Oh.
the future. Um, it was a song called the "Keep Going On" song, and the
Hmm.
woman who sings in that song reminds me of you, at least physically. I don't know her, but
Hmm.
and there's this one line that says, "Whenever this is, wherever this is, we'll be together tonight." And I think of that as why I make this sort of media, why I make this sort of art, the
Hmm.
podcasts and these kinds of videos
Hmm.
and things, because to your point about connection, I don't know when or how, but like this will be the moment that you experience it. And in that moment, we are together. And that has nothing to do with time or being linear. And so, and that line just really has stuck with me so much. And just really, it helps me access all of what is digital and separate, feeling separate these days.
Hmm.
It gives permission for that to be more
Yes, totally.
expansive.
Yeah. I was resistant to technology early on. Like I was definitely not the first person to get a so-called smartphone years ago. Um, and I was resistant to doing one-to-ones online. Now
Mm-hmm.
that's been maybe 4 or 5 years. Seems longer, but maybe it has been longer. But it's hard to think of a single one-to-one meeting online that wasn't treasure. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, better than treasure. What is treasure? You know. um, and the kind of like meeting online, I think it does leave open lots of layers of meeting that aren't always as present in person, because in person there's a little bit more negotiation of, do you like me? Do I like you? Am I safe
Mm-hmm.
with you? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Totally. And the interview experience
am
in
I
that,
okay with my body? And am I
right?
comparing to other bodies?
Yeah.
Do I have enough space? Am I taking up too much? I mean,
Yeah.
that's all important. I'm not, I wouldn't want
Mm-hmm.
to be at all reducing human contact, but I find there is a lot of real human contact through screens that can really infuse a different quality to times that we are in person together. That the whole kind of spiritual self, or whatever way to put that, the invisible, the parts that we more likely to ignore, that can be present when I have my space.
Mm-hmm.
And I can also turn my camera off and have the feeling of I'm with people and no one is seeing me.
Mm-hmm.
That practice has been really powerful for people to be connected, but to be like, ah, no one's watching. And then maybe slowly something can start to be creeping up of, and what if they can see me? Could I have the same relief, openness, enjoyment being seen
Mm-hmm.
as if I'm not being seen? Yeah.
Tenderfire